Hey, everybody, we got a lot of people joining right now, so we're just going to give it a couple minutes here.
Perfect. Hey, while we're waiting, how about y'all put in the chat where you guys are at right now, if we can do that. Where you guys watching from? What town? Oh, the chat. There we go. Bothell. Snohomish. Corvallis, Oregon, baby. How about them Beavs, baby?
Pittsburgh. We got a Pittsburgh. That's far.
Des Moines, Eugene, Oregon. John over. Doing that fly fishing. We got some Corvallis in here. Let's go. Hey, Liam, go Beavs, baby. Go back to that chat. Grants Pass, Oregon. Yeah, that is Isaac Hill, right-handed pitcher. Are we good, Jodes?
Yep, let's fire it up.
Well, hello, everybody. Can you hear me loud and clear, Jody?
Yep.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our 3 Ps Mindset Training Series presented by Base by Pros. Guys, this is going to be an introduction today of kind of what we're going to cover in these next 8 weeks. It's going to be an 8-week program of what we're doing. The first one's going to be today, December 16th, and then we'll take a month off and we'll resume January 7th, I believe. Jodes?
January 6th, Wednesday.
The 6th, and then we'll go, I believe, every other week from there. Each week is gonna a special guest will be in attendance, and this week's guest is Adam Wainwright. So really, guys, this idea of just play is something that we created at Base by Pros. It's a training mindset series that we use in a classroom to teach athletes prior to starting a pitching or a hitting lesson or even a team training. This is kind of a part 2. This is something that we created off of Just Play. And it's this idea of 3 Ps. The 3 Ps being the process, making progress, and living our lives in the present moment. So let's get into this. We got some people still trying to get in, Jodes.
Yep, there's one here coming in.
Okay, so just a little intro of my own self. My name is Kyle Nobach. I'm going to be the host of this show. So each series, I will host every single one of these where we get our special guests on, and I'll kind of do some Q&A with them and then open it up for you guys. But I'm going to run us through kind of and lead this program. I grew up in Marysville, Washington, guys. Just
Kyle.
Muted. He's got me muted. Gotcha. So I grew up in Marysville, Washington, guys, just north of Seattle, about 30 minutes. I attended Marysville Pilchuck High School and played all 3 sports my whole life growing up. I've always loved sports. And when I was a kid, I struggled mentally with the mental side of sports and just being in athletics in general. And really, as I've grown up, I've become very passionate about teaching this stuff and being able to give back and to serve to athletes. So I attended Marysville Pilchuck High School, played all 3 sports. I played a year at Everett Community College under head coach Levi Lacey, who is the 4-corner scout for the Texas Rangers. And from there, I had an opportunity to go play baseball at Oregon State University, where I spent 4 years in the Beaver baseball program, and I received my college degree. The very last game that I ever played in was the national championship. It was the last game I ever played in as a player. And since that day, I left Corvallis, Oregon. I embarked on this coaching career. I accepted the job at Everett Community College as the associate head coach, where I was the associate head coach there for 2 years. And I recently accepted a head coaching position of the Bend Elks, and I built the team last year. The season got banged because of COVID, but you got a team built of 43 guys on roster to go play in 2021. So, I've been working at Base by Pros since 2018. Since then, mentoring athletes and teaching hitting and also teaching the mindset of things. So a little bit of intro of myself. And so here we go. Let's get into this, guys. We're going to get this stinking. There we go. Okay. So since there's people from everywhere, we're going to kind of give you guys just an intro of what Base by Pros is. We got people from all over the place. So Base by Pros stands for Building an Athlete's Sport Education. Really, guys, this place was founded by the head coach at Oregon State now, Mitch Canham, and Brent Littlebridge. And when Mitch got the job at Oregon State, the ownership shifted a little bit and Steven Souza Jr. came into the ownership. So this business is solely owned by Brent Littlebridge and Steven Souza Jr. It's a training facility located in Linwood, Washington. We have 8 batting cages. We have a weight room. We have a parent lounge. We got kitchens and 6 office spaces upstairs. We have 4 classrooms for mindset training. There's a website and stuff there, and there's a few pictures of just kind of what it looks like inside the facility. That's just a little background for you guys on where we're at right now. I'm sitting in one of the offices upstairs in this studio. It looks like I'm a professional streamer, like I'm the next ninja or something. Jody's got me dialed in here, baby. Let's go. So really, this is the business model of what Base by Pros is built on. We call this the Diamond Principles. And really, guys, the first principle in our philosophy for a business is the mindset of things. The second piece is the skill, meaning throwing, catching, hitting, running, anything to do with the skills of baseball or your desired sport, even if you don't play baseball and you're listening to this. The third piece, guys, is the strength portion. It's training your body. It's training how you eat, the kind of foods that you're putting in, how much sleep you're getting, and really anything to do with the physical side of your body. And the fourth piece, guys, is this idea of character. And this is really the goal at Base by Pros, is to build extremely strong moral character. And character, guys, isn't really who you are when you're around other people. Like, it's not who you are when you're around your friends and how you act then. Character is who you are when nobody else is around. It's the things that you do when nobody else is around. We are trying to build incredible human beings here, because if you are a great human being, that will translate directly into your sport and into your performance. But it all starts with mindset. In life, man, everything happens twice. First inside our minds, then in real life. Mindset is really the key, the pillar, the driving force for allowing us to reach what we want to do in our life. So what does Just Play mean? Guys, Just Play really was a series created. It's a 16-chapter series that we created, telling stories, teaching in, let's say, parables. And we taught these 16 different chapters in different stories. And from there, we created a video series that a student, or an athlete, I should say, would watch this in the classroom. And then we would develop our hitting instruction downstairs afterwards. But everything started with a mindset, and that's how this started. So why was Just Play created? It was really created, guys, to help identify where athletes tend to focus their mind during training and in performance. And really the goal of this, guys, is to equip you tools to get out of your own way and maximize your own potential. We can think of this as, let's say, a wet towel analogy, the wet towel analogy. If you had a bucket and you had this towel in the bucket, and you pull this towel out of the bucket and you start wringing the water out of that towel, how much water are you wringing out? How long does it take to get all of that water out of the towel? And really, guys, potential works the exact same way as squeezing that water out of the towel. Are you making the most out of your potential? And a lot of this, guys, is, the mindset side of it. We train the body, we train the skill. A lot of us have been, educated in that, but not a lot of people are teaching you how to train your mindset and how to grow your mindset. There's 3 phases to this: the body, the skill, and the mind. If we train all 3, we can sustain success. If we lack one of the 2, it's incredibly difficult. And by training your mind, you will help get out of your own way, and you will break limits and go places, that you never really thought you could, because the only limits you really have are the limits that you put on your mind, inside your own mind. So potential kind of works the same way as that tell. So moving forward, what does mindset mean? I hope you guys got a piece of paper. Maybe, hopefully some of y'all taking some notes. But mindset, let's just define what that means. And really, mindset is a conditioned set of beliefs that drive your behavior. So whether you know it or not, your mind has been conditioned to think a certain way. Your mind could be conditioned from, let's say, your parents, let's say other coaches, maybe other people or teammates, right? Outside influences. Anything outside has the ability to help influence your mindset in a negative or positive way. Mindset is a conditioned set of beliefs that drive your own behavior. And this idea of mindset can really be broken down into two terms, guys. And this is studied by Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, who studied much of her life, devoted much of her life to training or studying mindset. And she did this study in a classroom where they studied these children, these young children in a classroom, and she put these extremely, extremely difficult tasks in front of them. And she studied these kids and how they reacted. And she found that 3/4 of that group instantly gave up, said, no, I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. And then a quarter of that group continued to do the challenges, even though they knew they couldn't succeed. And this really stood out to her. And she found that there's two mindsets that occur within people's brains. It's this idea of fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed being you believe everything is fixed in your life. You were born that way. And the growth mindset, you believe everything in your life is entirely dictated by your own actions. An example, guys, would be the guitar, baby. A lot of my life, I didn't think I could play the guitar. I had limited myself. I've never played an instrument. I've never been somebody that's had rhythm or had this ability to, strum these strings. And I told myself a lot of my life, I can't play the guitar. Guys, for the last 4 months, I've been receiving instruction from one-on-one, and I'm playing songs, baby. I'm playing Tom Petty, I Won't Back Down, and I'm just adding more and more songs to this repertoire. And really, this is challenging my growth mindset, this ability that you can do essentially what you want with enough time, effort, reps, and dedication. And guys, really the reason why I wanted to play this guitar is, number one, is to challenge my growth mindset, challenge my creative brain, but also one day when I have a family, when I have children, I play the guitar. And if dad plays the guitar, maybe they want to play the guitar. So really this idea, guys, of fixed mindset, we limit ourselves. And so, there's limited potential in that fixed mindset. And in the growth mindset, guys, it's really unlimited potential. Now, this isn't to say that, maybe some of you might want to be an Olympic sprinter. Well, you might not have those genes to be an Olympic sprinter. Like, we got to be realistic in some of this mindset. But the idea is your turn. Like, how in your life do you limit yourself by telling yourself things that you can't do? I can't play varsity baseball. I can't play professional baseball, right? And the list goes on of the things that we consistently limit ourselves. And then it doesn't even have to do with baseball. It could be, I can't take AP chemistry. It could be anything, I can't find a girlfriend or whatever it may be. What are you limiting yourself to in that fixed mindset? So your turn. We'll give you guys a few seconds here. If you got a piece of paper, write down, kind of process things that you say you can't do. We're doing good on time, Jody? Jody, we got to give a lot of credit to Jody Bossert. He put this together. If any of you guys watch, like a podcast show, he's like the duo. So if anything, we need anything, Jody's the guy. So kudos to Jody.
Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate it.
Had to give you a shout out. All right, let's move forward, guys. So really, this idea of fixed and growth mindset, guys, at Base by Pros, we created kind of a similar thing, but for performance on a field. And we wanted to help explain, really, the goal for this play versus pressure is to help, you athletes, the guys that are listening on the other end of this call right now, the different mindsets which occur during performance. And this is really the secret to consistent performance, is understanding where your mind's at in performance. And we created this idea of play versus pressure. And in this pressure mindset, I'm focused on the prize. It's totally outcome based. Instead, I want to be in a play mindset, focused on the process. And the pressure, I'm comparing myself. Guys, comparison is the thief of joy. There's 7.7 billion people on this earth, and there's one of you. So be you. Instead of comparing, compete your butt off, man. That's all we're trying to do. Perfection. There's no margin for error. I'm 3 for 3. I'm going up for my 4th at bat, man. I got to get a hit because I got to go 4 for 4, right? Perfection doesn't exist, guys. The best players, the best athletes in the world, Michael Jordan, all of them, they all failed. It's about making progress. We all started at level 1 or 0 at this game, and we've consistently made progress and progress and progress. And the further along we go, the harder it is to make that progress. Instead of focusing on how did I perform, the self-image, how did I look, what did I learn? Instead of I have to, it's not an obligation. It's not an obligation to be on this call right now. It's not an obligation to go to practice. It's an opportunity. Everything in your life is an opportunity to learn and grow. That's the growth mindset, baby. Am I focused on the future, or am I in the present moment? And the last one would be fear, or am I having fun? You think about, guys, when you played in the backyard as a kid and you were playing this game, playing wiffle ball, it was fun. It was in that play mindset. I was competing. I was worried about the progress. I wasn't worried about things that I couldn't control. So we got a call to action for you guys. Jody's going to throw up a poll on here, and we want you guys to put on, what is your most common pressure word? Do you focus on the prize? Do you focus on comparing? How did I perform? I have to, the future, or the fear?
Getting a lot of hits on how did I perform. I have to. Future is going up. Heard from 75% of you so far.
Come on, baby. We got to vote.
All right, you ready to see these results?
Mm-hmm. I didn't vote. How did I perform? Man, that's crazy. Perfection. Huh. Okay. Do you want me to stop it, or you got it, Jones?
Clear.
That's awesome. That's crazy. How did I perform? So I challenge you guys to pay attention to that, as you guys continue to move forward when we do get back on a field, because it's coming. We're going to get back onto a field again. So here we go. Let's move forward into this. Okay, so this is the 3 Ps approach that we're talking about today, guys. And really, like I said earlier at the beginning, this is going to be kind of an introductory. In these next coming lessons, we're going to give you guys really the how and how to train this. Today, it's a broad overview. We're kind of giving you the definitions and explaining some of the things. By the end of it, we hope that you develop your own process. You have an understanding of how to make progress, and you have an understanding of how to train and live your life in the present moment. So guys, what process means really is just mental and physical routines done daily to aid your performance. As you see, we got a little GIF, or GIF, I should say here, of a hitter doing his routine. And hey, whatever works, man, we just got to keep it consistent. Whatever you got to do to get yourself dialed in. But that's really what the process is individualizing it towards your own process. The next piece, guys, would be the progress. We got this little man here making slow progress towards the plate. And really, like I said earlier, it's just about making forward movement. It's gaining ground and being able to track your results. It's making progress and slowly making progress and progress and progress. And the last one is the present, totally immersed in the now. We got Evan Longoria out here doing an interview. A line drives hit. He's so dialed in, turns around and snags it so the reporter doesn't get hit. It's kind of wild. snag. So this is really what we're going to focus on, is these three things, guys. Is the process, progress, and being present, and trying to simplify this. The thing about mindset is it's very complex, guys. And what we're trying to do is just make it in the simplest way for you guys to understand how to train it and how to use it. Let's move forward. Boom. So trust the process, track your progress, target the present moment. And Michael Jordan, who's arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. I know some of y'all probably want to unmute your mics and start having a debate on that, but loved to chew gum when he played the game. And a lot of reporters would ask him, hey, Michael, when you're performing and you're sitting on the bench, what are you thinking about? And he said, I'm thinking about chewing my gum. And that's the present moment, totally immersed in the now. And he's one of the best players of all time. And the reason why he was so good is because he was totally locked in every single performance. He played as if every game was his last game. Locked in, baby. So how do we do this, guys? Really, the first piece of this is this awareness piece. Awareness leads to behavior change. As athletes, guys, we tend to study the best performers in the world, and rightfully so. They are the best in the world. We should study them. We should study them and mimic their strengths and try to do the things that they do well. But at a certain point, guys, you should study yourself. And this idea of self-awareness is really the key, is knowing who you are, knowing the things that bring you success, and developing your own routines. You don't know what you don't know, guys. If you don't know how you're successful and how you're achieving success, it's incredibly, incredibly difficult to maintain that success. So an exercise to do this, guys, is to write down your best sports performance. How did you feel in that moment? What were your thoughts? What were your habits? And what were your routines like during those times of success? And study when you were doing well. And at the same time, study when things didn't go well, and become aware of you thinking one way when I'm performing well, and I think this way when I perform not so well. And pay attention to what you're doing, guys. The best performers and the most successful people in the world, regardless of if it's sports, if it's speaking, it doesn't matter. They know the routines, the behaviors, and the things they need to do over and over and over to find success. So without further ado, this is the moment I think all of us been waiting for. I'm super juiced to get to this moment and bring on Adam Wainwright, who's an absolute stud, somebody I watched as a kid growing up, and he's got one of the dirtiest breaking balls I think I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to open this up, guys, for the first two questions, and we're going to go ahead and use that chat feature, right, Jodes? We're going to use that chat.
Yeah, go ahead and just ask your questions in the chat, and we'll get them over to Adam.
Yeah,
Let's
so
go.
we're gonna use the chat to ask these questions for Adam. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen, and we're gonna bring on Adam Wainwright, everybody.
What's up, everybody?
How we doing tonight, Adam?
All right, how many guys we got on here tonight, Coach?
We got 87 participants I'm looking at on screen.
That's pretty good. From all over the place?
Yeah, pretty much all over. We got Washington, Oregon. I think there was a Pittsburgh, kind of all over. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I can tell they're not from the Southeast because the bills are straight.
Yeah, you're not wrong, I know. Okay, Adam, I'm gonna ask you two questions, and then we're gonna open it up for everybody else. So the first question I wanted to ask you, Adam, is what separates Adam Wainwright from everybody else?
That's a good question. So, I think when I was in the minor leagues, really nothing did. There was a bunch of people just like me, because once you get up to a certain level, everybody has talent. Everybody is very physically gifted, throws hard, runs fast, hits the ball far. Even some of the pitchers can hit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just everybody's got a lot of talent. And so at some point, everybody does their little thing that is their special niche, right? But everybody has a version of that. So at some point, what happens is mentally you have to be better than the next guy. So when I was in the minor leagues on my teams, you know, especially when I was with the Braves, I came up with the Braves as a young player, drafted right out of high school. And when I was with the Braves, I wasn't really physically or mentally mature yet. And so I saw guys on my team all the time. And when I was in rookie ball, I thought I was the baddest man on the planet. But each year that I got up, so I went to A ball, I went to high A, double A, triple A. Each year I got removed from high school, I started looking at my teammates and going, wow, these guys are really good. You know, this guy throws harder than I do. He's got a nastier curveball than I do. He's got a great, you know, better slider. He's got a disgusting changeup. I don't even throw a changeup. And you know, you start comparing. I saw that on your list earlier, and you start comparing yourself to others. And what that does is it takes the focus off what you're trying to do. So I would see my teammates, and I would look at all their unique talents and extreme talents and be like, well, man, I can't do that, you know, and I just can't do that. And so when I came out of high school, to bring this back home, when I came out of high school, I really thought I was going to be in the minor leagues for 2 years. I was the baddest pitcher on the planet. And each year I got less and less confident in my abilities because I stopped focusing on my abilities and I started focusing on everybody else's abilities. When I was traded to the Cardinals, it was one of the greatest things ever. And one of the reasons that I was traded was because I went to the Arizona Fall League, and my coach, my manager, I should say, sorry for you professional ball players, my manager was a guy named Frank Robinson, who's a Hall of Fame baseball player, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And Frank Robinson sent me home from the Arizona Fall League. I was playing for Team USA. He sent me home. I was the only player sent home. He sent me home because he said, Adam, you're not going to help us win at all. There's nothing that you can do that's going to help us win. And it's not because of your physical gifts. It's because what you lack in your mind. And my pitching coach was a guy named Dave Stewart. And Dave Stewart had 4 straight seasons of 20 wins in the big leagues with the Oakland A's, a really, really great pitcher. And I looked at Dave Stewart and he said, dude, you just don't have it, man. You're never going to make it to the big leagues if this is the way it's going to be. And when I was traded to the Cardinals, it gave me an opportunity to be around different people. When I was traded to the Cardinals, it was because Bobby Cox, the Hall of Fame manager for the Atlanta Braves, was told by some of the scouts that I would never make it because of what I lacked between the years. And so when I was traded to the Cardinals, I got a chance to say, all right, why was it I was traded? Okay, he thinks I was mentally weak. I'm never going to get there. Why was I sent home from the Arizona Fall League? Okay, because he thinks that I'm mentally weak and I'm never going to get there. And then fast forward to the Cardinals, and I'm starting to kind of turn the page a little bit, and I'm just thinking to myself, all right, I got to start hanging around other people. I got to start watching and really trying to learn. And so I get called up to the big leagues very briefly. I pitched 2 innings. I got lit up, and I was the only player sent home from the big leagues before they went off to play in the playoffs. Albert Pujols hits this dramatic home run against Brad Lidge in Houston, and I wasn't there to see it because I was the only player that was sent home. And when I got sent home, Tony La Russa said, yeah, we can't use you. There's nothing you can do for us to help win this game. All right, so that's the second or third time I'm hearing this now. So before, when I heard it, I would look at everybody and go, all right, you're crazy. You obviously don't understand what talent is and how great players are going to be. Something's wrong with you. But, you know, you hear it 2 or 3 times, then you start saying, all right, maybe the problem is not them. Maybe the problem is me.
Amazing.
And so it allowed me to be a good self-evaluator for the first time in my career, where I was able to, and I saw you allude to this earlier too, Kyle, good players, they have an ability to look at themselves honestly and know where they need to improve. And good players have an ability to be stubborn to an extent also. It's a really fine line. You have to know who you are as a player and be comfortable in that, while also having ears to listen to people who are going to help you improve. So you have this baseline, right? I had this baseline where I kind of sit now where I know these are the things that I have to do to succeed. but I also always have my ears open. Now, I've been in the big leagues for 15 years. I'm almost 40 years old. I'm 39 years old. And this last year, I learned something great from our young pitcher, Jack Flaherty. So you always, it doesn't matter how far you've gone in the game or how much you think you've learned, you always have to have the ability to receive and to learn from whoever that is. So long answer to a short question, but the answer is what separates me from the other guy is eventually I was able to step onto the mound in my preparation after I got sent home from Houston. I made a vow to myself. I made a vow to the Lord that from every single pitch going forward, I was going to step onto the mound and I was going to throw that pitch, that practice throw in the backyard, wherever it was. I was going to throw it like it was so important. It was the last pitch of the World Series. And so that year, I went into spring training with a completely different mindset. Whereas before, I might have been thinking, oh man, I hope I throw this pitch here, right? Well, now I had this whole off season of I'm seeing the spot, I'm throwing to that spot, I'm going to hit that spot no matter what. And there was no thought about missing. It was all about what is it going to take for me to get the ball to that spot? That's what I'm going to do. And so when I showed up to spring training, I had a different presence on the mound because of this newfound authentic confidence that I had. You know, it's one thing to say you're good. It's a whole nother thing to believe it. And so finally, for the first time in my career, I believed that I was good. It wasn't about putting this outward thing out so everybody could see it. This was all real inside. I believed it. I'll show you because it's real. It worked. So I stepped onto the mound to throw my first pitch in the bullpen. And our pitching coach, who had me the year before, says, something's different about you. What is it? There's something different. And I said, just watch. I'll show you. So then I pitched all spring training. I made the team out of spring training. Tony La Russa calls me, our manager, Hall of Fame manager, calls me into the office, new manager for the White Sox, calls me into the office and he says, hey, you just made the team? And I have no idea because last year you were terrible. So what was the deal, man? And I said, just stick around and watch. I'll show you. He said, all right, cool. Pitched that year. I made 62 appearances. I pitched well. By the end of the year, I closed out the last regular season game. I closed out the NLDS, the National League Championship Series, and the World Series. And Tony La Russa calls me into the office the next day when I'm going to clean out my locker, and he says, how did you do that? That was amazing. You were terrible last year, and you just closed out the World Series. What did you do? How did you do this? He said, you are a rookie. How did you do it? I said, what do you mean? I had already closed out the World Series 62 times in the regular season and 7 or 8 times in the spring training before that, and 1,000 throws in the backyard and on the practice fields in the off season. I closed out the World Series over and over and over and over and over and over again. Today was just like, it was everyday things. So another long answer to a short question, but it is all about me finally accepting who I was as a player and making the most of my own unique talents and abilities, believing in myself that I was going to get the job done no matter what, and going out there and performing.
Yeah, that's an elite mindset for sure, and an awesome mind shift. So my second question would be, the year that you tore that Achilles and you battled back, you received the Hutch Award that year. And then just recently you won the Roberto Clemente Award. Congratulations on that. That's an amazing accomplishment. I just want you to speak a little bit on what those accomplishments and awards kind of mean to you.
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you. So those are like probably my 2 coolest awards, honestly, that I've ever received in sports of any kind. So it's one thing to be a good player on the field and to be a terrible teammate. And it's one thing to be a good player on the field and not use the talents that you've been given to go out into the world and do great things. But there's a whole unique other kind of awesomeness when you realize that you have a tremendous platform like I've been given, a unique opportunity to speak into many, many, many thousands of people's lives, to perform on a stage that's going to play in front of millions of people at times, in front of 50,000 people in person, but then, there's millions of people watching on TV sometimes. And so understanding that, yeah, it could be a lot of pressure, or it could be an opportunity, just like you talked about earlier, Kyle. The opportunity is to go out and share my faith with my play, right? Do I compete at a level that is going to make the other side look at me and go, dang, I don't like playing against that guy? Do I compete at a level where my teammates look at me and go, I want to play with that guy. Yeah. I want to be behind that dude. Do I compete at a level where the other guys go, man, I wish he was on my team, Because in my mind, there's a way to be an elite competitor and also an elite example. So you can be a great elite competitor, but then the other side looks at you and goes, man, he's not a winning player. I don't want that guy over here. The attitude, the aura that he puts out, it's not good, right? That's a big part of what I'm trying to bring to the field is understanding. And a guy, here's one, it ticked the hitters off at first until they realized I was serious. But every time a hitter lines out or something, right, they run back by the mound, I'll be, hey, good swing. And so Hunter Pence and Buster Posey pulled me aside one day and go, dude, are you being serious or are you being a prick? Like, what's the deal with that? And I said, no, man, we're out there competing. I'm giving everything I got. You're giving everything you got. You hit the ball on the screws. You beat me to the spot. We got fielders out there, though. So, hey, you did a good, I'm not going to say it if you break your bat and pop up to the shortstop, but you made a good swing. You were out there competing. I mean, as you hitters know, hitting a round ball with a round bat, after you hit the ball, everything else is out of your control. All you can do is hit the ball hard, and where it goes, right? I mean, am I right about that? Yeah. So you control what you can control. And what I can control while I'm on the field is my example, is my demeanor, is my language, is the effort that I put forth. What I can control in the clubhouse goes the same way, right? May not be 50,000 people watching me in the clubhouse, but somebody is. Somebody's watching my example. And what I know about examples is you're going to set one way or the other, whether you know it or not. It's either going to be a really good example, or it's going to be a bad example, or it's going to be nothing. So if you're going to set an example, you might as well set a good one, right? I'm the old guy on the team now. I'm the grandpa. I got a bunch of young guys that look up to me. Well, I've played with older guys that young guys, they don't look up to them. I'd like to be the guy that even if they take my job, they come in there and I help them learn. I help them get better. The same thing goes on off the field, outside the clubhouse, right? I've been given this platform, been given this opportunity to share my faith, to share the money that I've been given, to recognize when people need help, when they need food, they need water, they need shelter. I got all those things. I can share those things, I mean, so there's a time in your life where you realize that it's not all about you, and hopefully it hits y'all at an earlier age than it hit me. But at some point I realized, probably because my wonderful wife poured into me, but I realized that I was given this opportunity to share, to play this game, to make a lot of money, to play in front of millions of people. I was given that opportunity for a reason. And what a shame it would be to not use it to make the world a better place.
That's amazing. That's an awesome answer. We got a bunch of questions here. Let's try to roll through these here. How about that? Number one from Aaron Robinson. What motivated you to play baseball, Adam?
I had an older brother, 7 years older than me, who I wanted to do everything he did. And he was a baseball player. He was a pitcher, he was a left-hander. So I couldn't throw the ball left-handed, though. That was the only thing. But we would watch the Braves games every night. And, back then the Braves were really good. Yeah. It was John Smoltz, yep. Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones. Those were the guys that I grew up with, and so there was a lot of good things to watch and learn. And my brother and I would sit down and we'd watch the game. We'd talk about why the pitcher was making this certain pitch or what he was thinking, and, understand the differences of each guy. In a big game, you saw that playoff scowl that Smoltz had, that, he was going to be the ultimate competitor. you saw how Glavine was always the mellow, like you never knew if he was winning by 3 or losing by 3. He was super professional guy on the mound. Greg Maddux was like 25 steps ahead of everybody he was facing. So, there was these things that I liked pulling and taking from each guy. And so we would get the newspaper out, and if one of them talked about their game and here's why I succeeded that day, we would highlight it and I'd put it on my wall in my bedroom, and just little things like that. It had me wanting to play it. Back then it was Fulton County Stadium, but then Turner Field since I was 5 years old.
That's awesome. What age did you start pitching, Adam? Like totally like I would say became a PO. What age was that? That question's from Julian.
Oh man, not till professional baseball, man. I wanted to be an outfielder. I wanted to be the
two-way guy in the big leagues.
Yeah, I wanted to be the first, maybe not the first because Babe Ruth was pretty good way back in the day, but I wanted to be like the first, hey, this guy can play the field and he can pitch too. That's, I wanted to be Ohtani before Ohtani was, out of diapers. So that's where I wanted to be, but I don't think I ever lost the drive or will to hit. I still love to do it. I still, I might strike out a time or two, but I'll hit it far every now and then. It's going to go every now and then. But I would say that when I got really serious about pitching was my junior season. I realized, I was going to have a good chance to go pretty far in baseball. And, I got some scouts to watch me hit or whatever. And, I was going to be probably a second or third round hitter, but there was a lot of people there to watch me pitch. So it was the writing was kind of on the wall.
Yeah. This is from Aiden. When you're getting ready to start in a game, what do you look at for hitters to, try to avoid facing them, maybe in the scouting report or, kind of just the pregame prep for those games?
Yeah, it's a tricky thing, right? So you want to know all the weaknesses a hitter has, just so you know. Like when I step onto the mound, I like knowing the hitter better than they know me. I want to feel more prepared than the hitter when I stand on top of the mound. And then that way I can truthfully look at them and go, I obviously want this more than you because I spent 4.5 hours getting ready for this game and analyzing every single thing you do. Now, at the same time, you have to be really conscious of what your strengths are as a player. So if Brent is a really good fastball, curveball hitter, but he can't hit a changeup to save his life, or a slider, like you said earlier, but I don't throw a changeup, I'm not going to just go out there and start ripping changeups and bag my curveball, which is my number one pitch. I have to at some point go, all right, well, he hits the breaking ball well, but I got a pretty good breaking ball. I think I can get him out, we're going to find out. And maybe one at bat tells you, all right, maybe he's a really good breaking ball hitter. Maybe I'll throw something else. But usually your strengths are your strengths for a reason, and you need to stick with them. You move off of those in small things, but you don't go reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We got a bunch of questions coming in. I don't know if we're going to be able to get through all these. What is the best coaching advice you've ever received, Adam? Tough questions, man. We got a tough crowd tonight.
Yeah. I would probably say at some point in time, my old pitching coach, Dave Duncan, and I had a couple of pitching coaches in AA, Rick Adair and Mike Alvarez, and they are all three kind of preaching the same thing as you have to, it's kind of what I've already been talking about. You have to really understand who you are as a player so that you can build yourself as best as you can. And, you try listening to this before the game, or you try throwing this high, throwing it low, whatever. But until you really, and it takes guys, honestly, it can take guys a few years in the big leagues to really understand who they are as a player. But trying to figure out exactly who you are, not completely, but all right, this is where I need to be. That really helps me a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, let's go through some of these.
But you got to keep that mind of growth. That, what'd you call it earlier? The growth
The growth mindset. Yeah. The fixed and growth.
You can't lose that. You cannot lose the growth mindset.
I mean, I think it's just fascinating. You've spent so long in the big leagues, and you're what'd you say? Are you 39? You said.
Yep.
Yeah, 39, and you're still learning and growing. And that's, I think, if these guys could take anything away from, this talk, it's that right there, is the learning, the progress. It really never does stop. What was the one hitter or batter you were afraid to face, and how did you change your mindset or your approach to it? From Keegan Hagen.
Afraid is not the right answer.
Okay.
Afraid is the wrong answer, because usually when I give up hits, it's not because I'm afraid, but because I'm stubborn. It's a guy who got a couple of hits off me, and I go, okay, well, you're not going to do it this time. I'm going to do the same thing. You're going to, whatever. But seemingly the guys that have the most success off me, I just don't throw them good pitches for whatever reason. And then it kind of becomes a mental thing. But my toughest outs were always Aramis Ramirez from the Chicago Cubs. He played for the Brewers. He played for the Pirates. He never left the NL Central. I could never get away from him. I went on a mission trip to the Dominican Republic a couple years ago after he retired. I went to a Dominican baseball game. The first person I saw was Aramis Ramirez. I could never get away from this guy. Bryce Harper's got some pretty good numbers off me.
He's that lefty righty matchup.
Yeah, Joey Votto's got some pretty good numbers. Oh, I know who. He's not I don't know how many guys would know. You got a bunch of West Coast guys out there, right?
Yeah.
So you might know James Loney. He played for the Dodgers for a while.
Uh-huh.
James Loney was, in his career off me, I want to say he was 17 for 34. He bet 500 off me with 16 doinkers over short. He just did the same thing over and over again. So one game I was playing, Matt Holliday was our left fielder. I said, Matt, before the game, Matt, please don't let this guy doink one over short for a single off me. Don't let it happen. I want you playing almost on the clay, dude. Seriously, like 20 steps off the infield. I need you standing right there. He's going to hit one. You're going to put your glove up and you're going to catch it. Just trust me. It didn't matter what I threw him. I could throw him in, throw him out. I could throw him curveballs, sliders, changeups. I could invent a split. I could throw it up there, and he was going to hit a doinker over short. And so Matt says, all right, man, I'm going to do it. And so I get up there, and first at bat, I look around, and Matt's playing way back. I was like, whatever. So he runs up, and the first pitch, James Loney hits a fly ball to left, where it normally would have been a camp job, and it was 20 feet over Matt's head because I moved him in almost to the clay. And I was just like, it's unbelievable. I don't know what to do with this guy. But it's funny things like that. It's not always the best hitters that have the most numbers off you or whatever. And sometimes it's vice versa. Sometimes the worst pitchers get the best hitters out. But
yep. It's funny how that works. Little bleeder hits. From Grady Dormeyer, what was it like to win the World Series for you and your team, Adam?
Yeah, it's crazy because, when you're practicing in the backyard and you're visualizing, and this is how I was. If I was by myself, even I'm throwing the ball up and I hit it, and it's always, all right, bottom of the ninth, bases are loaded, 2 outs, Adam Wainwright's up. It's always the most dramatic. It's always to win the World Series, and then you hit it and you make the noise and you run the lap and you wave into the fake crowd in the backyard. And that's kind of how you always envision it, right? Well, that's exactly how it feels. It really goes quick, but it is for about 45 minutes, absolute pandemonium, because it's what you've dreamed of in the backyard your whole life. When you laid your head down a pillow at night, it was like, oh man, I cannot, what's that going to be like? And then the confetti and the crowds are going crazy, and yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's awesome. Well, we got a bunch of questions coming in. Let's go with, just run us through like your pregame routine. Like you're about to start a game, kind of run us through that the mental side and also that physical side, and maybe even just kind of what you would eat, the things that you were doing.
Yeah. So I don't always eat the same thing because, when you travel around, you're not always going to have the same thing. And eventually, if you say, I'm always going to eat the same thing, this was a mistake I made in the minor leagues. If you say, I have to eat this, 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 and this, then it becomes a superstition.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that can take you away from the best player that you can possibly be, right? The reason that I pitched well was not because I ate Papa John's pizza. You know, it just wasn't, you know. But I do like eating things that I know how I'm going to feel, right? So I eat a chicken, I eat some rice, some protein, some vegetables, some whatever. But always 1 hour before, no matter where you go in any locker room, there's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And 1 hour before I go out and play, I always eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a banana, because it's that last little bit of sugar, last little bit of fuel to go out there. But I've been doing that since, you know, came out of the womb. I know how I'm going to feel. The night before, I like to hydrate like crazy. The night before, I do some film work. I'm going over all the last like maybe 20 at bats against, if I have any at bats against hitters that I'm going to face the next day, I look at all the at bats I'm going to face that I've faced them in my past. That's how the technology is now. It's kind of cool. The next morning I get up, I have breakfast to hang out with the fam if I'm at home. You know, I try to be normal. I go back after breakfast around noon, maybe 1 o'clock, watch about an hour, hour and a half of more film. I'm watching the last 2 weeks of that hitter going into the game. So hitters are crazy. Brent could tell you this. You know, you might face him in April and the guy can hit every fastball in you've ever thrown. You face him in May, he just can't touch a ball inside at all. You know, he's changed his approach because everybody was pitching him in. He was hitting well, so then they started pitching him away. So now he's looking out over. Then you can really pound him in because he's looking out over. So it's really important to get those last looks of the recent games, right? So that comes into the preparation. And then I go to the field. I look at some numbers. I take a little nap. You know, I eat a little bit more. And everything is kind of building up, right? I've figured this out over the years. If I wake up in the morning and I go game face right away, I'm exhausted by the time the game starts. You know, I try to be a little more locked in. I don't try to be, it just kind of happens. But as the day goes and gets closer and closer to the game, there's this kind of build up process working. So maybe about an hour and a half before the game, I'll take a shower, get real warm. I'll go do some movements in the gym to try to warm up my body a little bit, some stretching. I got really tight hips, so I have to mobilize my hips, man. I got to get these guys going, or my back tightens up, and then I start pitching, standing straight up, and then, you know, so these old hips got to get loose. And then once I get the hips going, I do some jumping jacks, and now I know I'm prepared, right? So like I have learned everything I can learn about these hitters, almost to a fault. This last year really helped me because I poured a little less into it, and it allowed me to go out and perform, not be so paralyzed by the analysis, sometimes paralysis by analysis. But I'm prepared. So when I step out onto the field to warm up, there's no doubt in my mind I'm ready, right? And my whole life I've always gotten ready really fast. I mean, I got teammates that have to start warming up their arm and their body 2.5 hours before the game so they can be ready to play. It takes me about, if I wanted to, and this could take me back to the bullpen, but it takes me about 10 throws to be fully hot, ready to pitch in a game, you know? Yeah. And some of that is because I've done some prep work to get to that point. But I'll tell you, the most of it is that my mind, mentally, I'm so ready to perform. I'm so ready to compete. I warmed myself up, you know, like, give me a couple of these and let's go. I'm in the game. Let's go.
I love it.
And it's happened several times where I've had to do that by accident. You know, I thought the game was at 7:08 and it was at 6:48 or something like that, where the pitching coach one time in Milwaukee came in and goes, "Hey, you going to come out and pitch?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'll be there in 10 minutes like always." He's like, "The game starts in 7 minutes." And I went out there and I threw, 17 throws about this fast and then went and pitched, and it was fine. So I say all that because sometimes routine is really important, right? It gets us in the right spot mentally, physically, but also it's just warming up. Don't put too much into it. You know, if you throw 5 pitches in the dirt beforehand, doesn't mean you're going to throw any pitches in the dirt when you go out there. Your warm up is your warm up. It's completely separate from when you're out there on the field performing. So it's just warming up. So you could take me out in the backyard and wrestle with me for 20 minutes, and I'm gonna pitch the same way as if I threw 20 minutes of pitches on the mound. You know, it's just it's all about getting my body ready to perform, and that's it.
Yep. Hey, we're just about out of time. We really appreciate you being on here. This is going to be the last question we're going to ask you. You've had an awesome career. This last question is just kind of the one I thought of on the fly. Is we're going to see Adam Wainwright in 2021.
Are we, or where are we?
Yeah, where are we going to see him at? Yeah, what team?
Great question.
Come to the Mariners, baby.
Ooh,
oh, we need some help, Adam. Come on.
That's a long ways from home, man. That's actually as far as you could possibly be from my home. I'm Southeast Georgia right now.
I know you're a Georgia boy.
But you know, here's the bad thing about being in Seattle, because I love Seattle. It's a beautiful place. I love going down there and seeing the what do they call that on the ocean down there, where the
waterfront?
They throw in the fish and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I love that stadium. It's a great pitcher's park. It's a great. I love pitching
It is a
there.
pitcher's park, that's for sure.
Yeah. But it is so far from everything. You know, it's a 3-hour flight to your shortest destination.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I'm going to play. I mean, if I had to guess, probably St. Louis again, just because, you know, I've been there for 15 years, 16 years almost now. And I've been with the organization for 18 years. I mean, it's been there a long time. So I don't really want to leave, but I got one more year probably. Yeah. Probably one more year, and I want to win.
Oh, so I know you want to win.
If there's a team out there, I see Jacob's got a Braves hat on turned backwards. The Braves got a chance to win. You know, Grady, you got a Braves hat on, I think. The Braves is that an Anaheim hat? Or see your little league team?
Yeah, potentially. So
but the Braves got a chance to win. Padres got a chance to win. You know, I want to go somewhere. If it's not going to be St. Louis, it needs to be somewhere that's got a chance. Levi wants me to go to the Dodgers. Yeah. Dodgers and the Cubs, man.
Well, Adam, we really appreciate you. I'm going to share my screen. We got 2 quick slides left. If you guys got any crucial questions to ask Adam that are urgent, I guess you could send them our way, and maybe we can make those happen. But we really appreciate you, Adam. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. We're going to get back into this. You good, Jody? Can you see it?
Good job, guys. Young fellas tuning in to listen to an old fellow like me. I mean, this is where the learning starts. This is where you get better. You know, don't wait till you're an older guy to try to make adjustments. It starts when you're young.
We thank you, Adam. You're a great man and an even better baseball player. We appreciate you. So through these 8 weeks, guys, we're going to go through trusting the process. We're going to go dive deeper into the process. We're going to help track your guys' progress and really target the present moment. We're going to help equip you guys some tools to get out of your own way and maximize your own potential. A lot of people, guys, are talking about how to train, or, you know, why you should train mindset, but not a lot of people are giving you the how. That's really the goal of this training, is to help educate and encourage you guys to make mental training a normal part of your daily routine. Our next special guest, guys, is going to be Nick Ahmed. Played with the Arizona Diamondbacks for a long time. And the first P is what we're going to target, and it's going to be the process. So that's going to be January 6th at 6 p.m. It will be the second session. If you sign up in the next 24 hours with the code T3PMindRight, you can save $5. So we really appreciate you guys coming to our first 3Ps Mindset Training Seminar Series. And thank you, Adam Wainwright, for joining us and taking time out of your day. And we look forward to seeing you in 2021, hopefully with the Mariners, baby. You and Blake Snell, baby, hopefully. See you guys. Thank you, guys.
See ya.